Hello everyone, I am the Batman, and if you haven't seen the previous episode, you can click right here. Welcome to Putis. A long time ago, 140 years to be more exact, a man was born. This man was very special. Even when he was just a baby, he was already stronger than his father. The people of his tribe thought the mother had cheated on his father with a demon. They believed this was an extremely evil act, so they wanted to kill her and the baby. Even the father was convinced he had committed this huge sin. He stormed into their tent and killed his wife. After killing his wife, he saw the child lying on some animal pelts. He raised his hand in order to kill it. Then the baby started crying. The father had the moment of doubt. What if it was his? How could he face his wife in the afterlife? Was he doing the right thing? But then the baby stopped crying and looked the father dead in the eyes. Then he knew this thing. It couldn't be his. It was a demon, not one of his offspring. He couldn't allow it to let it live. He brought his arm down to kill his little baby. Right at that moment, the baby turned into a tiger and knocked his father over and ran out of the tent. Everyone in the camp saw the beast and tried to kill it, but the spears and arrow weren't enough. It ran away with speed they couldn't even ascribe to one of the deities. They gave him the name Abd Hakim, meaning powerful rage demon. After hundreds of years, the tribe still told stories about him. He was no longer seen as a monster, but as a god. One they believed would one day return and lead them into a glorious future. And they were right, for the most part. While one man was telling this story, the wind started picking up, and the sky turned dark. Later in the morning, a mist surrounded the camp entirely. The people ran and screamed in panic, but no matter where they ran, they came back at the exact same spot where they started. In the middle of the camp, a man appeared. He was dressed very strangely for their standards. He pulled all of the men towards him and stabbed them. Red magic came from his hands and went inside the men's bodies. And then they turned into dragons. They were now completely loyal to Abd Hakim. He lifted the mist and gave a speech to all the women and children about how they were now his. He turned his tail into a plate and ordered the women and children to step on it. They flew away, and he did the exact same thing to all the other tribes he could find. After just a few short years, he had conquered the majority of the land mankind had settled in. He built cities, a new concept in that time, and expanded his empire. But not even his empire lasted forever. After thousands of years of ruling, and after so much suffering he and his people had caused, a great disaster struck. His entire legacy wiped off the earth completely. Abd Hakim believed that this has happened as a punishment for his many sins he and his servants had committed. He decided that the power he had was too much for one man to handle, but he also believed the earth needed champions. But he had his chance. His time was over. He created 3 crystals and split his powers and part of his soul between them. He made an altar to place them in and raised a mountain around it, believing that one day someone worthy would find it and gained the powers they deserved. Then he disappeared and was never seen again by normal eyes. Years later, 7,000 years ago, a small community had yet again formed around that same mountain. They had already created a mine that went deep inside its center. This mountain was filled with beautiful gems and stones which made them very rich. But one day they found the altar. One miner went over to the overseer and they went inside together. After a couple of hours no one returned, but the mountain started shaking and collapsed into itself. The rubble destroyed the small town and stopped human advancement once again. 2 of the 3 crystals escaped, however, through the river. They disappeared until one day a young boy named Fast Smith found the Greek crystal and he became Mr. Transform.